Hey everyone, Grandmaster Ben Finegold here with Kid Chess. Now, as many of you know, my favorite player is Paul Morphy. And I'm from a chess family. My brother's a chess master, my son's a chess master, and my dad was a chess master. And when I was a kid, my dad always told me his favorite player ever was Capablanca, and that's who has white this game. And Capablanca was the world champion from 1921 to 1927. Now, this game was played in 1914, so probably Capablanca was top 10 in the world, but probably not the best player in the world yet. And this was in an exhibition where he was playing a lot of players at the same time. It's called the simultaneous exhibition. Maybe your chess coach has even done that. And this is a fantastic game where Capablanca uses all of his pieces to attack. And just like the people who lose a lot in our videos, their king goes for a walk. Okay, now this was a Dutch defense, which we don't see a lot nowadays. There's a few grandmasters who still play the Dutch, but you can see how the king is open already, so dangerous. Capablanca, who was known as a great endgame player and a great strategical player, he was giving an exhibition against amateurs, so he decided to attack. So he sacrificed a pawn, and the guy's like, all right. Then he attacked the pawn to win it back. Black defended the pawn. Bishop to g5, developing his piece. And now black played c6. Not a big fan of that move. And Capablanca played f3, hoping his opponent would take the pawn so he could develop another piece. And he really shouldn't do that. Black shouldn't move this pawn. Black should pin the knight, attacking the bishop, or play d5, playing in the center. But you know what it is? A lot of amateurs are greedy. They take everything, and they don't develop their pieces. They get checkmated. That's what happens a lot. So black was greedy and took this, developing one of Capablanca's pieces. So white has 3 pieces out, and black has only 1. White sacrificed a pawn, but he has a big attack. Now, black can't move either one of his bishops, so he played e6. Now he can get his bishop out. Good. White played bishop d3, developing more pieces. Black played d5, putting his pawn in the center. Capablanca castled. So you can see white has all of his binder pieces out, and he castled, and black does not. And the one piece black does have out, it's a relative pin. He can't move his knight. He'll lose his queen. So the one piece he does have out, still not good. Okay, he gets another piece out, and Capablanca starts the attack. A lot of amateur players, they start attacking too early. The best players in the world, they wait till all of their forces are ready, and then they attack. Well, obviously, white's ready to attack. White has all his minor pieces, haven't he castled? So knight e5. Now, the problem with taking this knight is when I take, I'm threatening your knight, and your knight's pinned to your queen. So that's not good. Okay, so he didn't do that. He played bishop e7, developing a piece. Now he wants to castle. Yay. Capablanca took. Now, white wants to play queen h5 check. Man, that's annoying. So after bishop takes, he did play queen h5 check. And if you play king f8, you get checkmated. Not good. And if you play g6, which, well, maybe he should have played, I can sacrifice on g6 and attack your king. And the computer says white's winning. And instead of doing that, he just played king e7. That's not good. And his king goes for a walk. It's fun for us. It's fun for Capablanca. It's not fun for his opponent. Capablanca using all of his pieces to attack. Bishop takes h7, taking a pawn, threatening knight g6 check, forking the king and rook. Knight f8, defending g6. Queen f7 check. It's almost mate. Here comes the king walk. King d6. Now, even though he's giving an exhibition and he's playing many people at once, here, Capablanca did a great calculation, calculating all the way to checkmate, where his opponent walks his king up the board. And when your opponent's king is walking up the board and you have most of your pieces, see all the pieces white has? It's almost always going to be checkmate. Now, this pawn is overworked. It's defending 2 squares that it needs to defend. So Capablanca played knight c4 and forced that pawn to go away. That's almost checkmate. It's not checkmate because black can take it. Now black's pawn isn't on d5 anymore, so he can play knight e4 check. And that's almost checkmate. So king to d5. And this was a really amazing move that he played. It's taking advantage of a pin, an absolute pin. This pawn can't move because it's pinned. Because of that, Capablanca played rook f5 check, forcing the king to move up more. It doesn't matter where he goes, he's going to get checkmated. Okay, now the chess engine says this is the best move, and then it says this is the best checkmate, that this is what's supposed to happen. Checkmate. Obviously, black's going to lose. Black's king is not where it's supposed to be. Okay, according to the engine, that was the best way of playing. Still get checkmated. Also, white had some other checkmates there. Okay, so instead of taking a pawn, he took the knight, and now he's walking into this. Now, if the rook moves to any square, which would be check, the bishop's checking the king, well, the knight or the rook can take the bishop. But there's something else other than regular check. There's double check, where 2 pieces are attacking your king. He played rook e1 check, and after king takes pawn, which is forced, c3 check, king d3 is forced. There's no other move. Now we have that double check I was talking about, and that's actually checkmate. Amazing. Now in this position, the king can go here and here. Those are the available squares. If I move my rook, the bishop is defending that square. So I want to move my rook to a square that defends d2, so we can't go here, but I want a double check. Do you see a double check where the king can't go here? If you don't do a double check, for example, you do this, check. Then I can take the bishop. Knight takes the bishop, rook takes the bishop. If you do a double check, which we've discussed in previous videos, you have to move your king. You can't take both pieces. The checkmate in one move, and there's only one, is rook d5. Boy, what a crush that is. Black has almost all of his pieces on the back row, except his king. And this rook is checking the king, and this bishop is checking the king. So that's double check. We must move our king. Unfortunately, for black, we can't move our king. Can't go to c2, can't go to d2, can't go to the e file, can't go to c3. Checkmate. Now, what's funny about that game is the guy who had the white pieces, who was sacrificing pieces, making the guy's king walk up the board, more like Paul Morphy, he was considered a boring positional strategical player. But look what he did. He was playing an amateur player who wasn't a grandmaster, so he really crushed him. And he used all of his pieces. He got all of his pieces out to attack. Black, not so much. Get your pieces out, use them all to attack, and maybe one day you'll be the world champion. This is Grandmaster Ben Finegold for Kid Chess. Until next time, bye kids.